Now, Acharya, a lot of we as human beings living in the worldly world, uh, we spend a lot of our living life as married people, you know, and I've heard a lot of people not being able to define what is not working. So they'll always come and say that, this is something missing. I do not know what it is, but I'm unable to find happiness in my marriage. And we have also gradually started moving towards divorce being an easy exit because everybody says you don't have to be in a toxic relationship. Are there any ingredients of happiness that can lead to a lasting marriage that works for everyone?
No, is there anything that works for anybody, let alone marriage? Is there anything in life that one is happy with? When someone comes and says, I'm not happy with my spouse, is this person happy with his car or the walls of his house or his job, or his slippers or his friends or his parents? Is this person happy even with himself? The problem is not the spouse. The problem is the unrealistic expectation we cultivate with respect to the institution of marriage. The thing is that if you are not joyful within, no man or woman can enter your life and turn you joyful. That's not going to happen. But then popular literature and romantic philosophy and the movies, they have led us to believe that irrespective of how rotten we are within, some magical person will enter our life and totally transform it. Now that cannot happen. When this fellow who does not know why the wife is not able to give him what he wants comes to us and he says, this is my condition, I would ask him, is there anything that pleases you? Forget the wife. Before the wife came to you, you still had already lived for 25, 30 years. What was the quality of your life then? Were you better off? All right, you want to be divorced. Go ahead. Now, tell me, after the divorce, are you contented? You're still not contented. You are not contented before the marriage. You are not happy after the marriage. In between, there is this mirage called marriage. How is this going to succeed? So no marriage can actually, ever succeed. The institution of marriage is a very practical thing. We are animals. And if man and woman are not formalized by way of religion and by way of law into a relationship, then there is the possibility of utter chaos and total anarchy. And we do not know what would happen to the kids that would be born from that anarchy. So that's the reason the institution of marriage has existed, prevailed, and to a great extent also succeeded. It has succeeded not because it gives you something spiritual. It has succeeded because we are animals. Let's be clear about that. The person who enters into your life or your house does not come to raise you to divine possibilities. That person comes to you because you do not deserve to lead a single bachelor life. You do not have that kind of internal discipline. And that's something I agree with. When people come and say that if everybody is living the life of an unmarried person, then the society would just break down. I think I'll have to agree, because we do not deserve to not to marry. To not to marry is an accomplishment. To not to marry is a status you have to achieve. You're not born bachelor, you're born married. Bachelorhood is something that you have to earn and achieve. Even the kid, the 2-month-old kid, is actually a married thing. Because the kid may not be formally married. The kid may not have one particular wife, but the kid is lonely and always looking for company. And the kid has the seeds of lustfulness and blind sexuality already embedded in his body. In that sense, the kid is already married, even at the age of 2 months. So one has to then become unmarried through the spiritual process. And that is what the scriptures called as taking your second birth, Dvij, twice born, born again. No, that's not born again. That's actually divorced. What you call as taking your second birth is actually a divorce from the wife that you carry from the mother's womb. What's the name of that wife that we carry from the mother's womb? Prakriti. So we already have a wife. And all the women already have a husband. Just as we bring wives to the world when we are born as twins. We are born as couples. I am born and my wife is born. Who am I? I am Purush, she is Prakriti. Similarly, all women too are born with husbands. The thing is to get divorced. All spirituality then in some way is the art of successful divorce. Can you be rightfully divorced? And when you attain that divorce in classical language is called separation between Purush and Prakriti. That divorce is another name for witnessing or distant observation. Observation without involvement. That's the name of the divorce. So that's, you see, something quite arduous. No? All of us are not even willing to take that challenge up. And since we are not willing to take that up, therefore, we are condemned to get married again. So marriage is a necessary condemnation. Why? Because marriage, you see, is just a manifestation of the state you are in right since your birth. The wife is there, but the wife is not visible. The kid is just 2 months old, so the wife is not visible. When the kid gets formally married, then the wife becomes visible. Now you can say, oh, there is the wife. But the wife was always there. The wife was in the mind. The kid was always married. People say, I'm already in love. It's just that I'm looking for a girl now. That's the condition of most youngsters. Similarly, everybody is already married. It's just that they don't know the face and the name and the body of the wife. And vice versa. You could look at it from a woman's perspective as well, and the thing would remain the same. So, you see, we have very, very unclear understanding of marriage, and therefore we have very unrealistic expectations from marriage. We do not know who we are, and therefore we do not know what marriage is. And therefore we raise both, you could say horrible and hilarious, horrendous and hilarious expectations from marriage. And then we say, oh, I am the particularly unlucky one whose wife or husband has not been able to deliver the goods. Just that the wife or the husband on the other side is saying exactly the same thing. So when it comes to the spiritual objective, the institution of marriage is not even constructed to have a spiritual objective. Please be very clear about it. There is nothing called a soulmate. Nothing called a soulmate. The institution of marriage is a useful one constructed to give you a body mate. And I'm saying it's useful because if the institution of marriage is not there, then there is indeed a possibility that the animal within us would run amok. Already people are so fond of peeping into their neighbor's house. And if they are not constrained by religion and law and morality, then you do not know what the restless animal within us can do. With that understanding now, we will have very tempered and realistic expectations from marriage. Now we will know that if we are living with a woman, then there can hardly be any spiritual dimension to this association. She is here because I am lustful. She's here because I am lustful. And she has agreed to come to me because she too is lustful and insecure and lonely. And that's the only reason. That's the only reason. Now, the moment I say this, people will bring in the word love. They'll say, but what about love? Don't husband and wife love each other? No, sir, they do not. Love is the exclusive domain of a spiritual mind. And the spiritual mind does not rush to someone of the opposite gender to seek fulfillment. One basic characteristic of spiritual mind is that it knows that fulfillment cannot be found in the person of the other, in the body of the other. That the body is something that you're already carrying. How can another body give you something additional? Your own body is itself such a problematic thing to carry. How can one more body add some value to your life? So, love is something that really is not a matter between a man and a woman, a girl and a boy, a hero and a heroine. That's not really love. But just as we do not know ourselves, we do not know what marriage really is, we also do not know what love really is. So in our blind quest for love, we just keep stumbling from one place to the other, rolling on, stuttering, not knowing a thing, marrying once, marrying twice, marrying thrice, and then becoming a poet. Because now you have enough experience to beguile and corrupt others. And you can then say so many things. Oh, I was a great lover. It's just that fortune didn't smile at me. And the thing is, fundamentally, without a spiritual basis, one will keep making all kinds of idiotic decisions, pay the price, and still not understand what has gone wrong.